Retrospective, animatronic, retrospective, animatronic, retrospective. Welcome to another animatronic retrospective. If you couldn't tell from my very annoying intro, I'm the one that's gonna have to edit the video. I'm gonna have to listen to animatronic, retrospective, animatronic. I'm my own plague. Welcome back. Or if you're new here, hi. My name is Raya. This is a completely normal channel. Animatronic Retrospective is a web show where we dive a little too deep into the history of animatronics from our past. And there is a lot of them. People don't believe me when I say that this show will never end. The show's never gonna end. The show's never gonna end.
Completely normal.
This episode's gonna be a little different than the others because of one thing. That's two things. One thing. IP. So far, all of the animatronic shows that we've covered have been based on original concepts or classic characters. Well, not this time! So join me, my friend, as we step into the world of intellectual property. Float on up to Kerala Castle! How was that for an intro?
Every day can be a Care Bear day. You can play in a caring way.
I feel like it's missing something. How do I know what the Care Bears are? As a child, I was not familiar with the Care Bears. Yet, I knew what they were. I just have no idea how I know. The cartoons were never on TV. I never saw any of the movies. I never saw any of the merchandise. My friends didn't talk about them. How do I know what the Care Bears are? Of course, the answer is quite simple. We come out of the womb knowing. We look at our toys one day and find a Care Bear snuck in somehow. Where did it come from? Who gave it to you? Why did you never play with it? It's actually a complete coincidence that within the last year, I've become really interested in franchises started by greeting card companies. I just heard someone say what? You heard me right. Greeting card companies. While you could call people on the phone, sending cards was still a pretty popular way to just
Communicate.
You have friends, you send them cute cards with cute little characters on them. This resulted in card companies like Hallmark or American Greetings to realize that their original characters on the cards were getting recognition and they could make money off of that. They could make a franchise of greeting cards to purposely push into animated features and clothes and books and anything grandma wants to buy their grandchild. They were on top of that. Not all of these attempts succeeded. In fact, I'm very interested in all the failed greeting card franchise lines, but of course there are ones that we know of today. Think Strawberry Shortcake, Holly Hobby, Rainbow Bright, and of course, the Care Bears. It was in 1981 that the previously mentioned American Greetings had a meeting with their partner, Kenner Toys. I know Kenner from their seaweed collection. I like centaurs. Kenner Toys wanted to expand into stuffed animals, specifically a teddy bear line. So they asked American Greetings to make them one. You know, teddy bears, the most oversaturated stuffed animal market of all time. I think it's a bad idea, but let's see what happens. American Greetings gave this task to their sub-company, those characters from Cleveland. Arguably a really terrible name, and also kind of a great name, because I've never forgotten it. Those characters from Cleveland was the branch of American Greetings that handled the franchising and creation of characters. The co-presidents of those characters from Cleveland were Jack Chonacki and Ralph Schaffer, who are Sesame Street letters. If you're not familiar with my channel, I tend to draw businessmen as Sesame Street letters. If they don't start the company, like if it's not theirs, I usually don't draw them. And then also, it's hard to find their images. Businessmen and CEOs and presidents, they tend to not have their images online. So instead of like freaking out about what old white guy I should draw, Sesame Street letters. Jack and Ralph assigned the bear concept to artist Elena Kacharik and freelancer Dave Poulter. Elena Kacharik is the one who designed the bears, and Dave Poulter is the one who designed the symbols that would later go on the bears' stomachs. Those characters from Cleveland were able to copyright putting symbols on teddy bears' stomachs. I just didn't think that that's like a original enough concept to put a patent on, but they did. Then again, I'm living in 2026, right? What year is it? Maybe 1981 was just a little different. This will be the last time we talk about Dave, so let's bring up the fact that I couldn't find his picture. I just drew him as a bear. I'm sure yeah, that seems right. After Elena and Dave did the first conceptualization of the Care Bears, the concept was officially greenlit by all companies involved. And more of those character from Cleveland artists joined Elena in the creation of the bear characters. Artists like Muriel Fabrian, creator of Strawberry Shortcake, Linda Edwards, a co-creator of the Get Along Gang, director Tom Schneider, who came up with Popples, and Clark Willie, who I can't find anything about, but I know was there. If you're ever confused on who the true creator of the Care Bears is, Care Bears was not created by one or two people. It was very much a collaboration of the artist team at those characters from Cleveland. So many co-creators. Though Elena Kacharik is mainly credited for not only designing the classic bear base, but also doing all of the art. Elena Kacharik. Her art, perfect. She is credited for every original Care Bear art piece. This is all her. Her rendition of the Care Bears is definitely my favorite generation. They are adorable, calming watercolor, fat, with these little dot eyes that remind me a lot of Winnie the Pooh. She nailed the Care Bears to a point where every generation since just cannot compete. Elena nailed it on the first try. Elena, so good. I do have a little rant about Muriel's recollection not matching up with anyone else's, but I shall spare you. Anyway, this is how the first 10 original Care Bears were created, based on human emotions. That's what they say. They say that the Care Bears are based on emotions, but like, birthday is not an emotion. Friend is not an emotion. I'd even argue that bed is not an emotion. Luck is not. As I mentioned, Care Bears were always meant to be more than a greeting card line. For their release in 1982, they had clothes, books, houseware, and of course, Kenner toy stuffed animals. The franchise was a complete hit, and it would only grow throughout the decade, creating more characters, adding lore, getting animated features, and at least $1 billion in merchandise sales. Care Bears were raking it in. The Care Bears franchise is like a video in itself, but that's not what this video is about. We're here to talk about animatronics. So I suppose in short, Care Bears are colorful bears with stomach tattoos who make lots and lots of money.
The company's making audio animation and have developed.
By 1986, Care Bears was a household name and firmly established. Enter Jacksonville, Florida-based Sally Industries. Founded in 1977 by dental student John Holland. The company is named after his robot Sally that he made in dental school for a communications project. As you do. Sally! He was joined by his friend John Fox, who left the company in 1983, so he's not on the board and he's not in this story. But I thought I would mention him since they did start the company together. And then he was later joined by John Wood. Why are there so many Johns at this company? Sally Industries mainly started with installments in department stores and dentist offices, of course, before shifting focus to compete with the many electronic entertainment companies that sprouted up over the decade. But how does one get a leg up in a sea of competition? Have you considered using IP? Using intellectual property, established characters that families were already well acquainted with. Sally's first attempt at using IP was actually for the Berenstain Bears, building a Papa and a Brother Bear to showcase at the 1985 IAAPA convention in New Orleans. These figures are impressive. It's a real show of skill to successfully bring 2D characters into a 3D environment, while still making them not only look like themselves, but look good. It's really easy to mess up. Unfortunately, these two figures appeared to not have met Sally's business expectations. It was then that Sally gained a license from American Greetings to use their Care Bears property. Without a buyer or a home to even install the show, Sally went to work making Care Bears animatronics. First, like the Berenstain Bears, two characters were created and put on display for the next IAAPA convention in 1986. As well as a miniature of what the complete show would look like. Give me that miniature! The display must have impressed because it was here that Sally sold the show concept to buyers in Indonesia. The entire show was made at Sally's Jacksonville location. They picked 6 of the bears from the original 10, built an impressively dynamic stage of clouds, and put together the script and soundtrack. The final stage differed from the miniature, in the sense that instead of having 2 cars barreling towards each other, which was a weird choice, They now have a car barreling towards a character standing. As I said, the first show was sold to buyers in Indonesia, really solidifying how popular the Care Bears were all over the world at this time. 1987, the first installment of Kerlock Castle was located in Angkol's Dunai Fantasy Park, Dufan for short. Dufan is an incredible hub for animatronics. Like, wait, what is that? The best part about making these videos is stumbling across stuff I just didn't know about before. Like, what is this? I'm obviously more well versed in like Western animatronics because I am trapped on the English internet. Because of this project though, I've been on like Indonesian sites and subs, and it's stuff like this. It's awesome. That monkey wants to throw hands with me so bad. I love international animatronics, alright? So this show is called Ballad Akira. It translates to monkey ballad. The monkey ballad. That's exactly what this is. I don't know a thing about this show. 10 out of 10. Dufan Park. I am definitely making a video on Ballad Akira one day. Amazing. Focus. I'm focused. Kerlock Castle. Care Bears. My mind? Devoid of monkeys. Sally Industries helped make a localized dub for Indonesian audiences. There are some modifications that we'll get to a little later in part 4. Dufan Park also named their show Barurang Madu, which translates to a type of bear called the sun bear or the honey bear. Literally one of the most fakest looking bears in my life. Me over here bullying bears. And then a second Kerlock Castle show was commissioned, created, and installed in 1988. This was at Dorney Park in Wild World Kingdom, located in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And because on this list Pennsylvania is near Cleveland, I put Cleveland over here, Kenner Toys, those characters from Cleveland, and American Greetings. Of course, this show would use the original English soundtrack, and is the version that we have pictures and footage of today. Also note, the walkarounds at Dorney Park, cute as hell. That eyes equals friend. You know, if you consider it, Care Bears are the perfect property to turn into animatronics. They're all the same design, friendly and colorful. Aw, look at them. They're so cute and small. Psych! They're massive.
Now that you know a little about Sally and its people, let's talk specifics.
I love having size comparisons because sometimes I forget how big animatronics used to be. Circus World Jamboree, which I saw a couple of months ago, they're small because they're from the 1990s and they're meant to be cost efficient. They're not that big. But then I shared a video of Rolly and Brett. That bear is so big. 80s animatronics were so big. Brett is so small and that bear is huge. Moving right along because we are on topic. We are focused at all times. There are 6 characters in the Kerlock Castle show. Since Care Bears all look the same, there's no real difference between their models or designs. This means that their placements and their poses is what gives them the most variety. If you know your Care Bears, you already know who these characters are, but if you're a noob like me, you're about to learn against your will. First up, we have Friend Bear. A very terrible name for a bear, mind you. I mean, aren't all the Care Bears friends? Isn't that name a little bit, like, I don't know, redundant? Friend Bear is a creamy orange with 2 smiling flowers tattooed on her stomach. I know that they're not called tattoos. Give me some grace. Friend Bear's whole deal is promoting friendship, making friends, and being all around sociable. In the show, she has a watering can that can grow prop flowers. Next up, we have Tenderheart Bear. Tenderheart is a strawberry brunette who promotes understanding and compassion. He's the voice of reason and unofficial leader of the Care Bear gang. His tattoo is a simple red heart. Basic. For some reason, I have an inner urge to bully Tenderheart at all costs, and I can't explain it. Get away from me, Tenderheart. Next on our list, we have Bedtime Bear, which is not an emotion. Bedtime is not an emotion. He sleeps, He sleeps all day so he can protect children from bad dreams at night. Really leaning into the magic guardian vibe that Care Bears have. His appearance is blue with a moon and a star on his stomach. Bedtime is also the only bear who will always be seen on stage, because when he's not in the scene, he's sleeping. Next up is our yellow girl here, that's Funshine. This is a cute name. I think that's why I'm so hard on, like, Friend Bear. Friend Bear? Imagine being named Friend, and then your buddy is named Funshine. She drives a car, she has a license, her character bio describes her as enjoying the little things and spreading fun and happiness. She's yellow with a son. Funshine is also an unofficial leader of the Care Bear gang. Our pink friend here, this is Cheer Bear. Positive, happy, outgoing, no thoughts. She's pink with a rainbow tattoo and slides down a rainbow and has to slide back up it in order to exit the stage, which is incredibly funny. If I'm being real though, her voice is...
Hi, everyone.
And finally, our star. This is Grumpy Bear. He's grumpy.
That bird should have his wings clipped.
Grumpy is a light blue bear with angry eyebrows and a storm cloud tattoo. The other bears call him out for being grumpy, but like, it's his name. He's definitely the odd one out of the Care Bear gang, but his grumpiness is not a natural state, apparently. In the show, they point out that he absorbs humans' grumpiness. That is such a terrible job compared to what we got here. Making friends, spreading cheer, going to bed. So Grumpy Bear is just eternally grumpy because it's not like the world will ever run out of grumpy people. So that's just always going to be his state. And that's kind of a total bummer, man. Besides the flowers that grow, the only other animated prop would be the care meter. It glows up with the world's care and it leads to plot, I guess? All 6 characters interact on stage. They sing a mix of copyrighted and original songs, fight villains off-screen, tell off-screen stories to teach children messages about caring, making friends, and being non-escalative. Overall, the bears are very cute. The first time I saw them, I wasn't a big fan of some design choices, mainly the fabric they chose. Light can often make this type of fabric sheen and look wet and greasy. I wish they were fluffier. The show we have footage of is from Dorney Park, and it was stationed outside, and they just look dirty. Funshine Bear doesn't even look yellow anymore. Ugh, stay away from me, Tenderheart. Another note I want to touch on is their eyes. Their eyes are so small, which is fine if they didn't also try to fit in the sclera detail. Black dot eyes would have been cute. Not only would it be like Elena's art, but it would also be like the Dorney Park walkarounds. Or, on the other hand, if they didn't want to do black dot eyes, they could have just made their eyes slightly bigger to mirror maybe their animated counterparts. Instead, Sally made this mix of the two, while I believe choosing one or the other would have been a stronger choice. I also wanted to note that in the Indonesian show, there are some sources saying that Tenderheart and Friend Bear's cosmetics were swapped. The only picture I could find of the installed show at Dufan Park is this one. Frankly, that looks like Friend Bear to me. That looks correct. The image quality is really bad, but Friend Bear and Tenderheart are practically the same color. Friend Bear's crossed flowers resembles a heart, so I understand that in a blurry image like this, they could be mistaken for each other. But I think, like, when I overlay this image of Friend Bear, like, you can see the gap of where the flowers are? That's Friend Bear, right? Perhaps. Yes. I'm gonna put up a poll. Do you think this is Friend Bear, or do you think this is Tenderheart? As I mentioned, this is the only image from Dufan Park that I can find. If you have any proof of the swap occurring, maybe you have more images that you can send me. But at the moment, it's just like on a few sources. And if this picture is why they're saying that, I don't think this picture is solid enough proof to say that that's Tenderheart. You know what I'm saying? Enough of that, it's showtime! In the English dub of Carolot Castle, there are 6 segments, each 5 minutes long. The entire soundtrack and script was done by Janet Sherman. You can always trust a Sherman to do your music. Janet Sherman did all the well-known soundtracks for Sally Industries. This would include shows like Daniel and the Dixie Diggers, Bubba Bear and the Badlands Band, Billy Joe and the Bluegrass Boys, and my personal favorite, for some reason, Ursula and the Papa. You mean Papa? 1, you should go watch my Rare Blue Apes of Cannibal Island video. And 2, they're an Oktoberfest themed animatronic band. It's charming! It's charming! I won't go over every segment and song because that'd be really boring. But I did make a chart. Check out my chart. So it lists all 6 segments and the songs and the overall lesson, plot, that they do in 5 minutes. You can also go listen to the entire show. I have it linked below. It's just on YouTube. It's 30 minutes. Good luck. Some highlights in the show would be
3, 2, 1, care! Care harder!
Bird should be banned. That bird should have his wings clipped.
How does goodness? Flowers, like this.
Flowers.
And no one appreciates me.
Everyone appreciates you, Grumpy.
Don't touch me, Tenderheart. For the Indonesian dub, it's pretty much the same bones as the English dub, except that it's 10 minutes shorter because of cut songs. Still, I translated the whole thing, just took the whole transcript and I put it through a translator. That's the beauty of war. The winds are flowing, a radiant place to play and have fun. The translations are totally accurate. Certain changes to the Indonesian dub are calling themselves honey bears or sun bears, changing Funshine Bear's gender to male, as well as making him a terrible driver. In the Indonesian dub, Funshine hits the bird whose wings should be clipped instead of Grumpy. Overall, it's basically the same show.
If you wake up every morning with a smile, every day will be a wonderful day for a ride on a rainbow.
That's good.
Is this cheer grading on anyone else? A little bit?
Stay friends.
No matter who we are,
Or how differently we see things.
There's something about the Care Bears that doesn't always sit right. Especially for people who've dealt with toxic positivity environments in the past. For those who don't know, toxic positivity is maintaining a positive mindset and display of emotions at all times. At all times. It's rejecting all difficult feelings, no matter how difficult or horrible the circumstances, in order to maintain this fake facade or environment of happiness. Toxic positivity minimizes and dismisses people's feelings and results in shaming, ignoring issues, and generally making things unpleasant and worse. It's bad, and I don't like it. Negative emotions are very important, not only to understanding yourself, but empathizing with others. That being said, Care Bears sometimes has this toxic positivity vibe. Sometimes the Care Bears say certain things or they push certain ideas and the advice doesn't feel actually healthy. Elena's art does not push any kind of lessons. It's only when the Care Bears had to be adapted, mainly into animation, that their target demographic shifted to very young children. And you know what? Thinking positively is useful and a good message. But like anything, positivity can be taken too far. Don't push positivity to a point where you're actively harming others or yourself. It's okay to be angry or sad or frustrated. Your understanding of your emotions will be so much stronger that if they do get too heavy, you'll be able to handle them. And it's just gonna help you out in the long run. And this is way too deep on a video about Care Bears animatronics. I felt so justified when I was reading how they invented the Care Bears, and they were talking about how they made the first 9 bears. And those characters from Cleveland were like, this is too much cheer. So they made one who wasn't cheerful. Grumpy Bear was literally created to offset the intense cheer of the other 9 bears, and he has been doing it all by himself all these years. His negativity is necessary. It's one thing when Grumpy Bear is balancing out 9 bears. It's another thing when Grumpy Bear by himself is balancing out this entire franchise that's been going for 40 to 50 years. Grumpy Bear, frankly, just isn't enough anymore. This show would be pretty unbearable without Grumpy Bear saying just like offhand stuff.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tenderheart.
Tenderheart is really good at caring.
Too bad everyone is.
It does like, the show is so cheery, bang, and it just kind of puts it back. He's not always on stage to do that. And I don't like how the other characters gain up on him.
I'm grumpy.
He's always grumpy.
It makes me kind of uncomfortable. Like, Grumpy Bear's being grumpy, and they're like, Grumpy, why? It's his name. It's his job. It's his literal job. He takes grumpiness from people, and they're like, Grumpy, maybe you should stop doing that. It's his job. This has been a Grumpy Bear rant. Seeing it through an adult lens, there is things that you can critique about the Care Bears franchise, but also I can see the value of it for preschoolers. In the end, I can't knock a message as simple as caring. Care. Yeah, I think the general public got pretty tired of that. But what happened to our Care-a-Lot Castle show? What happened to our beautiful Big Bear animatronics? About that. The Defon installment lasted until 1991, where it was replaced the next year by Teeter Sang Pelopor. My Indonesian? Spot on. Teeter Sang Pelopor, or rather the Pioneer Theater. This new show featured animatronics in the form of Leonardo da Vinci, or astronauts, and so on. But apparently it didn't do too well and was replaced in the year 2000s with an empty theater! Yay! It's not exactly clear why Dufan removed their Barung Madu show after only 4 years of operation. What happened to the animatronics? The sets? The props? I don't know. Some people think that they were destroyed, and some people think that they are in storage. My opinion? The set and the characters and the props are just far too large to be keeping in storage for nearly 30 years. Meanwhile, back in the States. The Dorney Park installment only ran a year later into 1992. This was after the park decided to not renew their licensing fee with American Greetings, which means all of their Care Bear branding, merchandising, costumes, and the animatronic show had to be officially destroyed, demolished by orders of American Greetings. While we can't confirm the destruction of the American show, it is kind of a mystery what happened to the Indonesian one. Yeah, they were probably destroyed too. But all is not doom and gloom. American Greetings is still kicking, as well as those characters from Cleveland, renamed a few times to Cloudco Entertainment. And while Sally Industries was never able to sell a third show of Care-a-Lot Castle, for their first full-time use of copyrighted material, I say it went generally well. If you have any interest in theme parks, you would know them as Sally Dark Rides. Oh, Sally Dark Rides. Right. You know, the most successful dark ride company in the entire world, to a point where I can safely guarantee that you have ridden something created by them. In fact, the relationship of the Care Bears property didn't end with Care-a-Lot Castle, as it appears on their website that there's a Care Bears Dark Ride concept based on the most recent generation of the franchise. Sally Dark Rides is also fantastic at cataloging their past. It's lucky that we're able to listen to the entire show. We're also lucky to have the production images, as well as that good old parent video footage from Dorney Park. Sure, you can't go see Care-a-Lot Castle anymore, but the Care Bears franchise hasn't gone anywhere, though it does come in a new form every decade or so. For me, nothing beats Mrs. Kucharik's original art. There's just this whimsy gentleness of it. There's no real message outside of, they're just cute bears. They're up in the clouds and they're having a gay old time. That's great. And while no longer at the height of their popularity, Care Bears is very much still a household name. It has tons of media and merchandise and history and lore and characters that I haven't even touched on in this video. The Care-a-Lot Castle show was made at the height of Care Bear's popularity and represented that classic Care Bear spirit that most who are nostalgic for that property, for that simpler time, remember to this day.
This is the end, friend.
This is the end, friend. I'm Raya. I'm a creator. I do lots of things. Along with making videos, I also have a video game slated for 2026. I was working on it yesterday and it was kicking my ass. And I have a webcomic. I have multiple webcomics I'm working on, but this is the only published one at the moment. The prologue just finished last month, and by the time you see this video, Chapter 1 would have started. So I'm really excited about that. My next video is going to be a deep dive. I also filmed a vlog that I may or may not post because it's weird. It's a weird one. Vote in my channel poll if you have an opinion. Is this Friend Bear or Tender Heart? I have to know. Do you disagree with me? I think I was pretty convincing. Socials. You already know how to keep up with me. You know how to use YouTube and the World Wide Web. You know, you're a tech whiz, you. You got it figured out. And most of all, remember, care.